Good morning. This is this week's sentiment forecast for the week ahead, starting on the 5th of August. I'm just going through the same pairs as I do every week. Next week will be technical, and then the following will be sentimental. But I'm just going to alternate them because if I talk about the sentiment and the technical, that makes a really long video. So this is the pound USD, 78% long. All the sentiment providers are registering sell, and they have been for 3-4 weeks, maybe longer. Oscillators upticking, but note the ratios. See how every time they buy the dip, that's bearish. There's another dip buy there, bearish. So what you want to see is these ratios to come down and cross that grey band area in order for it to be a buy. Pivots up here, and that's support 1. Now we've got a stop loss cluster at 12191 and below 12069. So you just bear in mind that they are buying dips, that's bearish. And I can add Saxo Bank, Dukas Copy, Forex Factory. See, it's very dip, all this dip buying. So going to the dollar yen, 82%, which is a sell. All of them are registering sell apart from Saxo Bank. That's in the grey band area. So if we click Saxo Bank, see, that's in the untradeable band. But all the others are above, so that makes it a sell. It's a bearish ABCD. Pivot's way up there. And this is support to 10652. 10654, so we did close above that. Stop loss cluster 10640 and above 10727, so perhaps it might trigger that and then bounce. Oscillators are down, there's no sign of going up yet. Add Forex Factory, yeah, as everyone's just buying the dip. That Trump news took everyone by surprise. It might even come down here, to be honest, that depending on the ratios. Go to the Euro USD. How are we looking? 65%, so that's a sell. Dukas Copy says buy, but they're the only ones. Add Dukas Copy. See, they're down there. So according to those guys, it's a buy. But if we look at the aggregate, see how they're all long. See how they bought it there, and it comes down. So it's funny they would have bought at the 200 day, more or less. Yeah, up there. So they bought that there, which is a bit crazy. And they continue to buy, and they're holding on. So this is the 200 day, as I say. Pivots here. Stop loss cluster 11048. Let's have a look at the one above. Can't see it. Maybe it's, oh, there. Okay, 11201. So it's 100 pips north is their stop loss cluster. But because it's a sell, we should be triggering this one. 11049. Support 10967, which it will be triggered if they hold on. If these guys hold on, which I assume they will. Oscillators are up. So yeah, depends if they hold on, which they guess they will. Look at the gold now. So it's a buy definitely on the sentiment. Had these guys, Saxo Bank, Dukas Copy, Forex Factory. See, they sold, which makes it a buy. That moment they sold, this would have triggered at the Trump tariff event. It's a bullish ABCD. Oscillators are crossed up. Pivots here. So we're above, way above pivot. This is resistance 1. R1, 1449. There's a stop loss cluster above, 1451. Stop loss cluster below, 1429. But we have to trigger that because the ratios are so signaling buy. And it's a bullish ABCD too. This line is just from that bottom there as a support, so it hit that one too. and these candlesticks followed it as well. But yeah, so there's your stop loss clusters. Euro yen, it's a sell. My FX book very, very long, 95%. There's that my FX book line there. It really can't get any further than that. It's kind of extreme. Saxo, Dukascopy, Forex Factory, everyone pretty much, apart from Saxo Bank, they're in that grey band there. Everyone else, they're bullish, so for us it's bearish. That's crossing down, pivots up here, support one there, we broke that. So the stop loss cluster 118.92, 118.13. Now the euro yen has actually broken a monthly support, which I'll probably put onto Twitter or Telegram. It looks really, really bearish now, so have a look out for that. Bearish ABCD, get rid of these. But yeah, that's the euro yen. Dollar Swiss, it's a bearish 5.0. It's a sell there, 69%. Saxo Bank and Awanda undecided. They're them two there. Everyone else is signaling sell. Oscillators are down. Stop loss cluster. Okay, that's strange. I can only see one. 98.17. Perhaps because we took it out and hasn't registered it. Yeah, it hasn't compiled the data. It'll probably register the other stop loss on the open. And also these dotted lines are the 21 moving day average as well. So we closed below that, it's quite bearish. Just as a bias 5.0. We zoom out, there's that line again. And we cross below it. And zoom in. So yeah, well, I'll hopefully get that stop loss cluster Monday. Yep, going to the Kiwi. To sell here, my FX book are long again. There's that my FX book line. So that makes it a sell. Add these guys. Everyone's in agreement that it's a sell. Red, 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 red. So we've got pivot here, got a big stop loss cluster there, 65.80. I zoom in down. Wow, it's a big one here too. And that's at 64.76. So we'll trigger this because this sentiment is signaling sell. So we'll go here and it breaks that diagonal line, which I assume, yes, so it's this. Okay, that's interesting. So yeah, looks like we're going to break that diagonal line, trigger that, and perhaps it might fall more, or it could bounce off that. But we've got that China tariff news now, so the Kiwi and the Australian dollar are going to suffer because they're export countries. So going on to the Australian dollar now, and that's more of a sell. Very extremes there, Forex Factory, 98% long, my FX book 96. Click these guys into, very much for sell. So if you just follow that price, as I think this is the Saxo Bank line, they buy, they buy, they buy, and they continue to hold. Look what happens down here. Hold, 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 and even more further down it goes. Pivots here. Support one is 67.56. There's a stop loss cluster down here. So 66.96. That's 100 pips away, which will trigger because of the sentiment. 68.29, the one above. Excuse me. We'll go to the dollar CAD now. Go to the H4. So it's a buy here on the sentiment. Buy an oscillator. It's a buy on the dynamic, but bear in mind that there are some in the grey band, so that's untradeable. Only these two sentiment providers are signaling buy. It's a bearish 5.0. but the ratio is signaling sell. So it's doing the same thing as the dollar Swiss, if you remember that shape. So what it does, it creates a channel, like a megaphone pattern. So what happens here, we'll get the new harmonic. So this will be X, A, B, C, then D. So it does like a bat formation. This is what they tend to form into. So that's like half of the harmonic. So we'll come down, up, and then sell. And it will become like, as I say, a bat or perhaps a butterfly. But yeah, it's a buy there on this at the static. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, so that's the dollar CAD. So there are a couple that are undecided, but these two are saying buy, and this is our signal too. So pound yen, sell, all of them are in agreement. Boom, 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 boom. This is the 50% neutral line. See how they buy the dips? When they buy the dips, it's always bearish. There's another one there. If I follow this down, come down. Okay, buy. Okay, it's going okay, but they held on and it falls. See, by holding on long, price falls. The 21-day moving average is pointing down. Pivots here. Support 1. I think we've broken. Okay, support 2 and support 3 there. So we're close below support 1, 129.96. And your stop loss clusters are 128.68 and 130.15. But we'll trigger this one first because of that. Oscillators are pretty lethargic, very tired looking. The trouble is if they tick up, then someone will probably see it and then they'll continue to hold. So that will be bearish. So less focus on the technical, more focus on the ratios. I found that to be really, really good and profitable. For the Euro Aussie, bearish shark. That's just very crazy extreme. So that 17%. Buy. Oscillators are up. There they are at these guys. So at that point they sold. So we'll use that MyFX book line. We would have seen this on the spreadsheet. And okay, so they come down, how price goes up as they move down. So down, hold. It's even going up even more. So it's made a bearish shark on the H4. We're way above pivot. So support 1 there at 163.09. Support 2, 164. Oh, I can't see. 70. Stop loss cluster. Can I see that even? There's one there. So when it might not have calculated it. 16023. I can't see the other one. Unless it's really, really wide. There it is, it's really wide. Oh my gosh. So it's 165, 166.59. So that's 300 pips away. Oh my god, yeah, okay, so that's just nuts. So we'll probably likely come up here. So that would be bearish Aussie and bullish Euro. And that's probably where I would target if trading this one up there. That's pretty bonkers. So we could go into the S&P. We didn't actually close the cross, shall I say, on the Tenkan-sen and Kijun-sen. We didn't quite cross on the trailing price, was the Chinku span. And we are above Kumo, and the trading price is above Kumo. And we've got a bullish shark on the daily. C, X, A, B, C, D. That would bring you a buy. And that's like the bias now. So continue to buy dips on this, pending that we still got a sentiment is a buy and the technicals. This is just an example of what I was saying last week about the trend and the 200-day. This is the pound yen. Had you have watched it and then taken that trade, you would have done really well. So that's the H4. See how bearish it is. That's just the zigzag. This one I just calculated by eye. So this is the 161, and this is how accurate that was. It's almost to the pip, I think. There we go. Let's see. So it's good to use these extremes. You can spot them. If you just use the zigzag indicator, I know them by eye now. So I knew that was a zigzag high and a zigzag low. By placing a fib on that high to low, you get 161. So that level needs to hold if you're trading pound yen. 129.099 on the dot, and we did break it just by maybe like 1 pip. And that wraps up the video. This is just something I just saw while playing around with some indicators in the Euro USD inside bars here, and look how we just closed below. Oops, that's wrong. God. This one. See? And we've got this one. What we've got here, got a higher low and a lower high. So it's almost like a funneling effect. So, you know, the volatility is squeezed. So I think this level is going to be important. This one, 111.1. Yeah. So we didn't quite close above that. We see there's an inside bar up here too. These act as good supports and resistance. We closed below that support. So that's something to bear in mind. The inside bar indicator is really good. But yeah, not too long video. And next week I'll talk about the technicals. And yeah, and have a good day. And I'm going to do that COT data now. And I'll speak to you over the week. All right then. Thanks very much for watching.